Alrighty, here we are. NFL teams will regret spending big money on these three players. I think the first off, we got to talk about Derek Carr. Um, he
Or Derek.
technically, statistically, he's a pretty good quarterback technically.
Or Derek.
But he just doesn't really win. Last year he was 14th in passing yards, which isn't terrible, not great. 30th in completion percentage, 24th in passer rating.
Is he a good
Also
quarterback, Tyler?
tied
Is
for
he?
third. Huh?
Is he a good quarterback?
Tied for third in interceptions. So I mean, obviously these numbers aren't great. We've seen what Derek Carr can do though in putting like MVP like numbers, but I don't think those numbers should inspire any team to hand Carr a contract value worth $40 million annually. And right now, that's entirely possible, as a lot of people are predicting he'll make potentially around $37 million per year. And for his career, Carr is 16 games below 500 as a starter and has made one postseason start in 9 years. In other words, Carr is not a bad quarterback, but he really isn't that good. And I think handing him $35 to $40 million a year is a really risky bet for any team that's really trying to go all in. I don't think it's worth it.
Derek Carr has had an MVP caliber season 1 year. And that 1 year, he broke his fibula, and he's never been a good quarterback since. Derek, I feel like it's funny that you say all this, Tyler, too, because I feel like teams these days just love to overpay and force a situation for a quarterback. Like, Derek Carr is going to go somewhere. He's going to get a boatload of money because people are so desperate for a quarterback. And it's going to be ridiculous because he's going to be the same Derek Carr that he always was. Just like when the Redskins at the time, the football team, traded Kirk Cousins to the Vikings. Go ahead, pay Kirk Cousins $10 trillion. He's still going to be Kirk Cousins.
So whoever ends up with Derek Carr will just end up being an average team. That's what we know. All right,
Cheers.
Max, who do you got
All
next? Right. Who's another
Good
player
coverage,
that we feel teams would regret spending the money on?
I feel torn saying this because he's always been a Packer favorite for me. I kind of hope the Packers keep him because I kind of hope he never finds what he's looking for in the market, even though he will. And I hope he stays with the Packers. It's Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard is a free agent, unrestricted free agent, and the Packers have made it very clear that the only way that he'll be a Packer next year is if he comes back in a very team-friendly deal, which will be very, very close to a veterans minimum type of deal because the Packers are very handcuffed with their Aaron Rodgers situation. They're handcuffed with some of these big players that they need to keep, like Aaron Jones, like Bakhtiari, like Elton Jenkins. So they're Jair Alexander. The list goes on, and they're going to have some big, big money and tied up in Jordan Love here in the next year as well. So the Packers just don't have the money to keep Allen Lazard, unfortunately. I think he's a really, really good team player, but I'll tell you what, this man thinks he's going to go out there and get $20 million a year. He is sorely mistaken. And the sad part is there are teams that have a lot of money out there that are going to pay him a lot of money. I just want to read off some stats for you here, if you don't mind there, Ty. Regular season. Career average, 169 total receptions in his career.
That's it for his total career? He's played 5 years with Aaron Rodgers. He's caught over 50 passes just once in his career. That speaks volume.
169 receptions in 5 years total. He has had 2,000 yards and 2,236 yards total. He's had 20 touchdowns in his career.
He's never had over 800 yards. He's never had over 800 yards in a season.
His career long catch is 21 yards.
Holy
21
He's not fooling
yards.
anyone. His athleticism is very subpar.
Allen Lazard is a receiver that is going to make your team better. That goes without saying. He is going to make your team better. He can block. He knows the system. He's a leader. He's a good clubhouse guy. He is a valuable player for a team. But he is not to get top-tier wide receiver money. We Packers took an experiment, took a stab in the dark, tried to make him WR1 going into the year. That really did not pan out. He cannot beat a top cornerback. He is a guy that you want where he's got where you got a mismatch, you got a linebacker on him, right, or something like that, right? That's the type of situation you want Allen Lazard and you want him in on blocking. But he is a guy that a team would be in a very, very, very bad way if they overpaid for Allen Lazard. That's what
Yeah, I mean, we tried throwing him in as a WR1 this year. It was a completely failed experiment. He doesn't have the athleticism to be a true weapon. He's, in my opinion, a WR3, and his market value is 12 to 15 million. I don't think it's worth it for a team to overpay. Next up.
All right, what do we got now, Big G?
Next up, we got Josh Jacobs. Very surprising. But the man did have his best career, or best season up to this point, 1,653 rushing yards, 4.9 yards per carry. But it's feeling to me like he's been overused. Before this season, he really has been injury riddled. He had a whopping 393 touches this year. And the history of running backs who have at least 370 touches in a season is generally littered with disappointing campaigns the year after. And I think whoever ends up getting Josh Jacobs next, whether that's the Raiders or whoever else, will have to sign him to a somewhat long-term deal. And generally for running backs, 25, I mean, he's 25. It feels like he's been in the league forever. Generally, long-term contracts don't work for running backs. It's a bad idea for the Giants to give a long-term deal to Saquon Barkley. Same goes with the Dallas Cowboys to give a long-term to Tony Pollard. All these guys have come off of big injuries, and I think whoever ends up signing Josh Jacobs to this high market value for a running back, I think they're going to end up regretting it because I think this is his peak value as we stand right now.
Well, I guess we're going to see. But that wraps up our intellectual minute for today. 3 free agent targets that you do not want to overpay for. So all the general managers that tune into the Intellectual Idiot Show and that listen to our videos and that watch us on a daily basis, just know, these are 3 guys that Tyler and I have done research on that you should not overpay for. So just to make that very ample clear.
Adam Schefter is also going to be reporting on this article or this, video that we did later today. So be prepared.
Well, I hope he doesn't, because then he'd see my video absolutely tearing into him from a couple days ago. So please, Adam Schefter, no hard feelings about my prior video. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe for more NFL content. That's all for today.